You mentioned earlier when you're talking about Bryan Cranston, that episode of X-Files, that there was this sort of humanity exuding from him. And throughout, it seems almost the first episode, the second episode, into the third episode, you still were sympathetic with Walt. But now things have turned, and I just wonder, for you, did you know that going into it, as you said? Did you see that down the road? And is it your intention that this character be at all sympathetic at this point, or are we meant to turn on him?
Well, going back to that first episode of the X Files that Bryan Cranston was in, I realized casting him in that episode that this was a rare actor who could play a bad guy and yet you still have sympathy for him. And so I knew we'd need that. I always pitched this show from day one. I pitched to the executives at AMC and Sony that this was a show about a guy who gets worse and worse as the show progresses and gets less likable and less sympathizable. And we have to, if we're going to do this, we have to be courageous about it. We have to let the chips fall where they may. And let's launch ourselves on the right foot by hiring an actor who will remain likable long past the point of good sense. Bryan Cranston has that ability to remain empathizable and likable, if you will, past a point where other actors would no longer remain so. But we got to go forward with courage. And at a certain point, we're going to shake some viewers loose, because the less likable, the more reprehensible this guy's behavior becomes. At a certain point, people will decide, I've seen enough. So that's sort of, in a sense, the point of the show, the experiment at hand.